Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of MS Gamers Hut, and I'm your host, Ted Michael. I hope everybody had a fun and scary Halloween. Did you get a lot of trick-or-treaters? So, what did you think of those games I reviewed last week? This week, I'm reviewing a genre of games that I find interesting enough to get lost in for hours on end playing. Hope you find them as fun as I do. The first game I'm going to review is called Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter is a challenging, time-consuming game in which you build and maintain an underground vault that becomes a home to dwellers who have survived the dangers of the nuclear wasteland. Fallout Shelter is from the creators of the popular game Fallout and is available for both iPhone and Android mobile devices. The free game has plenty of in-app purchases opportunities, and it places you in control of the state-of-the-art underground vault and its occupants. You begin by maintaining core resource generators and slowly expand the vault's features by adding medical bays, radio rooms, training rooms, and more. Graphics are outstanding in Fallout Shelter, and the gameplay may be the most challenging I have seen in a city builder style game. It is a fun game, and it does require a lot of commitment to have any hope of surviving the dangers of the wasteland. When you first launch Fallout Shelter, you are guided through the steps needed to create your first underground vault. The game requires permissions to access the internet, and gameplay may be synchronized between devices. The initial connection to the internet and synchronizing gameplay both requires a data connection, but otherwise the game can function disconnected. This makes it a good option for use on your mobile devices. At its core, gameplay with Fallout Shelter is not very different than any other city builder style game. You begin with a very modest layout that covers the basics of the vault. This includes a generator, water treatment facility, and a diner, living quarters, and a secure vault door. These rooms represent the core resources needed to maintain your vault, and production levels of energy, food, and water are displayed at the top of the game screen. Dwellers arrive at your vault, seeking shelter and a place to call home. Dwellers vary in abilities and are assigned to the various rooms of your vault to perform tasks. They can also be a moody bunch. By placing them in the right job helps keep their spirits up. Happy dwellers also mean a happy, productive community. You can monitor the dwellers' happiness by clicking on an individual to pull up details information that includes skill levels, equipped gear, and happiness. To view a summary of the entire population and related stats, Just click on the gear located at the top left corner of the game screen. Additionally, dwellers also emit emojis that from time to time for a quick reference on their mood. Green smiley faces are good, red smiley faces are bad. There is a point where new dwellers from the wasteland become few and far between. To help your vault's population grow, you can play the role of matchmaker and watch the romantic sparks fly. Children of dwellers give your population numbers a boost the natural way, and eventually these kids grow up and can be assigned to tasks to help with productivity. As your population grows, the variety of vault rooms increases, and you can add medical labs to develop healing vaccines, science labs to develop radiation treatments, a radio room to attract new dwellers, additional storage space, and more. There is also the opportunity to expand existing rooms and upgrade their production abilities. There is also an overseer's room available that unlocks a quest feature where you send dwellers out to the wasteland to tackle an assortment of missions. The missions range from defeating a local radioactive monster to rescuing neighboring dwellers from raiders. The Overseer's quests are a fun departure from the time management aspects of the game. Adding new rooms or upgrading existing ones comes at a cost. Fallout Shelter includes an assortment of performance objectivities that can earn caps, the game's currency. And when dwellers level up in experience, caps are earned. You even have a mysterious dweller decked out in a trench coat that appears randomly. Tap on him before he disappears to earn bonus caps. You then use the caps earned to build and upgrade the vault's facilities. Game controls for building new rooms and accessing various features are in the lower right-hand corner of the game display. The hammer pulls up the construction choices, while the radio icon expands to reveal access to the game settings, inventory, objectivities, a comprehensive help screen, and more. Along with worrying about having enough food, water, or energy, there are a few dangers to contend with at the vault. You have attacks by hostile raiders that you must defend off, infestation of post-nuclear life forms, and now and then a room catches on fire. While these dangers deliver a little action to the game, they can also prove fatal for your dwellers. Should a dweller die, they can be revived, but it will cost you a handsome amount of caps. With dwellers not knocking down your vault door to join your community, the expense can be worth it. While there is plenty to keep you busy within your vault, dwellers can also leave the safety of the vault walls to explore the vast wasteland. You can track your progress as they encounter inhabitants of the wasteland, fight off dangers, and discover loot, ranging from toys to weapons and clothing. These items can also be collected from defeated enemies who raid your vault. Dwellers can be equipped with loot collected in battle or while exploring the wasteland to better their chances at survival. Some loot can be used to craft stronger weapons and gear in workshops that become available for your vault. Items you don't have a need for can be sold for caps to give your bank account a boost. The gaming experience with Fallout Shelter is rather involved, and finding success measured by the happiness of your dwellers is challenging. The graphic quality for Fallout Shelter is outstanding, and game design is user-friendly. All of the features in Fallout Shelter can be a little overwhelming, but it doesn't take long to get used to things. Throughout the game, tips appears to help point you in the right direction, and once you become an old pro at Fallout Shelter, you can turn off these tips in the game settings. It is best to start out slow and avoid overbuilding your vault too soon. This extends your resources and makes it difficult to maintain happiness and productivity. Should your generator be unable to keep up with the demand, rooms lose power and productivity comes to a halt. While you need to pace your growth within the game, Fallout Shelter is not a game that you can pick up from time to time to play. Given the game your full attention can be a roller coaster ride, and downtime can be devastating. When not playing the game, activity is still taking place in Fallout Shelter lays dormant. If you leave the game for a few days with a dweller exploring the wasteland, when you return, the dweller will likely be dead and buried. Downtime with Fallout Shelter can also result in depletion of resources, unprotected raids, and other events that can prove fatal for your vault's success. Fallout Shelter is definitely a mobile game that requires attention every few hours, or in the least an amount of preparation to handle longer downtimes. For example, you can make sure you leave the game with ample supplies and well-developed dwellers safely in the vault. As far as stability and performance are concerned, Fallout Shelter rather smoothly for the most part, but I did experience a few crashes during gameplay. It was nothing detrimental, and the instability could easily be due to low resources on my phone. That's not built for my tablet, not built for the gaming. Playing Fallout Shelter from my phone was smooth, but I did experience longer load times. The delays were not painful, and again, this is more of a resource issue with the tablet than it is in the issue with the game. All in all, this free game is an enjoyable way to invest your time. If you aren't a fan of city builders, Fallout Shelter may change your mind on the genre. Just give it a little time to grow on you, and it may surprise you how addictive this game can be. While I was skeptical of the game at first, Fallout Shelter ended up being an entertaining, challenging, and sharp-looking game. The next game I'm going to review is called Flight Pilot Simulator 3D. Flight simulator games have been stimulating the imagination of children and adults since the first one was released way back in 1979. They've come a long way since then, as basic grids and black and white patterns have been replaced by realistic backgrounds and fine detail. These days simulators don't just try to reproduce a cockpit and some basic scenery. They try to more make the experience as realistic as possible. You'll find everything from snow-capped mountains to seagulls flying by your plane. If you're really into aviation, it's a great way to get your fix. There are a lot of free flight simulator apps out there, but the problem I've found with many of them is that their mission plots are even confusing or entirely lacking. One particular flight simulator app that seems to have some good promise is Flight Pilot Simulator 3D. You can use this app for free, but there is also a lot of potential expensive in-app purchases available. You can obtain a lot of the upgrades for free as well, but it will take a long time. The app is compatible with most mobile devices. The graphics in the simulators aren't state-of-the-art, so they won't blow you away, but they are pretty decent. The landscapes are fairly detailed, with snow patches on mountains, lights on runways, and the rippling of waves from the water below you. You won't notice any fine detail on the buildings below, but the graphics are certainly realistic enough to help immerse you in the game. The same thing goes for sound effects. They're pretty good, but they won't blow you away. When you're driving a propeller-controlled Cessna, you'll hear the constant hum of the propeller, and if you crash, you will hear what passes for explosion noises. These aren't Hollywood special effects by any means, but it's still a fairly fun experience. The controls are very basic and easy to use, at least in the free Cessna that you automatically have access to. There is a simple gear shift for acceleration, a button you can press to double the speed of your plane, a set of brakes, and you simply tilt your device up, down, and side to side to move the plane in various directions. There were no complicated control patterns to work within this basic free plane, and although it's possible the controls might get somewhat more advanced when you purchase a more advanced plane. When you use the simulator for the first time, you'll take part in a simple training mission designed to help you learn the controls and figure out how the things work. You do receive coin for completing these training missions successful, which will allow you to unlock other missions. Each mission includes a clear-cut instructions of what the objective is, and as you progress through the missions, you're instructed if you waver off course. Each mission gets progressively more difficult, but the one constant that's present throughout is a clear set of instructions that makes your objectives easy to understand. As you move through the missions, you'll also receive constant updates on the mission's objectives, especially when you're getting close to your objective. This will allow you to make course corrections to adjust the changing conditions and prepare you for any quickly maneuvers that might be necessary as you approach your objective. Each mission requires a certain amount of coin before you can access it, and the easiest way to collect coins is by participating in Free Flight Simulator. This is essentially an open simulator with one particular objective other than collecting coin by running through balloons and landing at airports for mission information. You can use either your own eyes to search for your objectives or you can use your radar. The biggest drawback with this app is that all the coolest planes and most interesting missions are locked unless you're willing to access them through in-app purchases. There are some planes you can purchase by collecting enough coins, but you need quite a lot, and it still doesn't allow you to access all of them, which is a little disappointing. On the positive side, it is completely free of ads, so some requirements for in-app purchases was probably inevitable. What really impressed me about the game was that no matter which mission you're in, there were always clearly marked targets to mark your mission objectives. In many other flight simulator games, the course objectives are not so obvious, and it doesn't take much to leave the users feeling a little frustrated. That's not a problem with this app at all. While the restrictions you face in the free version of this app are a little frustrating, they're certainly better than putting up with a game that's loaded with ads. You can unlock a lot of the advanced options through good gameplay, although you will have to be patient. It really is quite a decent effort in the flight simulator category, and you'll have lots of fun. The next game I'm going to review is called The Sims Free Play. Way back in 2000, when I first started playing The Sims, the big joke was that Sims players were wasting their time living virtual lives when they could be living their own. That stigma faded over time once MMORPGs made it big. There was bigger time wasters to fry. But The Sims Free-to-Play harken back to those early days in more ways than one. For one thing, it's more like the original than any other mobile titles. For another, the game plays in real time. That means when you take the time to send your sim off to shower, you really could be doing it yourself. Never before was a game given me such an uncomfortable awareness of my own time wasting, but the returns make it feel worthwhile. By moving the game into real time, players are free to, not play on occasion. Freemium titles like this work on timers, and timers have to keep moving while you're away. Since the game is all about micromanaging your Sims' lives, imagine a 20-minute day, step out for an extended lunch in real life, and all your Sims would have starved away to nothing. Instead, you can pop in to babysit them as little as once or twice a day, or as often as you want. It's a lot like playing The Sims with autonomy turned off. Your Sims will do nothing on their own. They will suffer, starve, and humiliate themselves if you're not there to care for them. Will they die? I couldn't bring myself to let it go that far. Seeing their tiny defeated frames as they stood there starving a few steps from a fridge was enough of a heartbreaker. If you want your Sims to take on gainful employment, you'll need to stop in a bit more often. Jobs also function in real time, so if you're not able to play around, say 8 a.m., there will be certain jobs you'll want to avoid. It's awkward, but your Sims really don't care. They lack interest, desire, or skills, so one job is as good as the next. That's the fundamental problem with The Sims Free Play. If every action is equally good, they all start to feel a bit pointless. You can send your Sims down for a quick nap that takes 4 minutes or a deep sleep that takes 8 hours, and the only difference is the amount of experience you'll earn at the end of the day, at the end of it all. It's streamlined gameplay that works exceptionally well for a freemium title, but feels a bit pointless when compared to the desktop titles. Still, a freemium game, The Sims Free Play, works very well. Grinding for experience takes a back seat to entertainment. You can customize your Sims' looks and outfits. You can play with their hearts, setting up love triangles and household spanning affairs. You can set your Sims to gardening and play Farmville Light. You can rebuild their homes and decorate with a decent selection of furniture and decor. Playing interior decorator is always my favorite part. Of course, to buy furniture, you need money. Your Sims can earn their slimians by going to work, selling the fruits of their gardening labor, and playing with their pets. Or you can skip all of that and just buy them. You can also buy lifestyle points, which can be used to instantly complete timers, or purchase some awesome furnishing in houses. Lifestyle points can also be earned as you level up and complete missions. Here's the rub. Simoleons and lifestyle points are expensive. The smallest simoleon packs you can buy are $4.99 and give you enough cash to buy one shop in town. You can do it all yourself instead, but it's going to take a long grind to buy homes to unlock all 16 Sims, open all the shops, and bundle all the workplaces. If you go into the game looking for the next great Sims title, you'll be disappointed. The game is all surface without much underlying personality. But if you're looking for a new freemium title to sink your teeth into, The Sims Free Play offers so much fun and variety that you'll barely notice the same old timers underpinning the works. That's not small achievement if you find yourself as hooked as I am. Stop by the store and check out this game. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of MS Gamers Hut. And as always, I would like to thank MS&Me Radio for giving me the opportunity to share my passion for games, and my listeners, because without you, there would be no MS Gamers Hut. Next week, I will be checking out some first-person shooter games. Goodbye, and keep gaming.